Welcome to Thankful Together 10 Reasons to Celebrate Your Marriage. Today is Thanksgiving 2025, and I hope you have found many things to be thankful for in your life. When it comes to our marriage, so often we get hung up in the stress, the exhaustion, the energy it takes to take care of a family, to pay the bills, to feed everybody. There's a lot that goes into it, isn't it? And often we get hung up on our exhaustion. But today, let's look at the things that we are thankful for. I believe that each and every day that we focus on a more positive attitude, what's going great in the day, I think what we focus on, we get more of. So, what if that's true? And all you do is focus on all the things you don't like and you keep getting more of it. Yeah, push that aside, push that away, erase that, right? Today's Thanksgiving. I want you first to think about 5 things you love about your spouse. 5 things you love about your spouse. And if you're having trouble with that, go back to 5 things that made you fall in love with your spouse. All right, 10 reasons to celebrate your marriage. Well, the first one is companionship because two are better than one. In the book of Ecclesiastes 4 9 through 12, it says, two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. I mean, let's think about it. When we go and we work together, bring in 2 paychecks, or when one's cleaning up the kitchen and one's watching the kids, right? It says, if either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. Also, if two lie down together, hey, they'll keep each other warm. But how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. You have a partner to share life's joys and challenges with. The Bible is so wise, isn't it? Yeah, companionship. Two are better than one in every area. It's like a teammate, a companionship, a friendship. Like, I got this, you got that, right? Companionship. That is one of the awesome parts of marriage and figuring out how to do it right. All right, so number one is emotional support. Emotional support, the baby sick. Maybe you have sick parents. Maybe you're just simply feeling overwhelmed that day. Having that spouse come in and to be able to put your arms around each other, emotionally support each other. I mean, sometimes we have to be alone. We have to live alone. I am thankful. I am thankful for my partnership with my husband. Number two, different talents. That's the thing about marriage. I'm good at decorating, telling him which clothes match, right? I'm good at cooking, pretty good anyway. I'm still trying. Anyway, I'm good at cooking. I am pretty good at budgeting. I'm a savvy shopper. But sometimes I have a little trouble in organization and there's something goes missing and I can't find it. Guess what? He can always find it. He is better at fixing things in the house. And I think we're both peacemakers. We're both peacemakers. But sometimes another talent is being able to speak up and defend. See, different talents. So when you're married, you can celebrate and be thankful for the fact that you have different talents and you bring the two together. Hey, you got it going on. Number three, I am thankful for wisdom and different outlooks. We all have different experiences and abilities. That kind of goes with what we just said on the talents. Different experiences and abilities, different outlooks, perspectives. Often, when my husband is looking at something one way, I present another perspective, and he hadn't thought about that. Yeah. And the same thing for him. He has a different perspective on certain things than I do. When we put it together, we have more wisdom between us. Number four is laughter. I think one of the best parts of marriage is laughing together, having new experiences, a new adventure, doing things together. Yes, I am adventurous and I like to learn new things. But laughter, when those kids are falling out in the floor and you're both exhausted and one of you starts laughing instead of crying or screaming, laughter covers a lot of challenges. Number five, intimacy. I was reading a book. It's called His Needs and Her Needs. And it says that couples need 15 hours together every week. Now, when you stop and think about that and you're working, taking care of kids, running around, it's hard to get that. But if you sit down a few hours, 3 or 4 hours a week, and watch TV, if you sit down and have dinner, my husband and I we don't have kids at home anymore, but we like to just sit there and continue to chat for a few minutes. So honestly, if you have children and everybody finishes at the table, before you start picking up the dishes, you could spend a little time a couple times a week, 15, 20 minutes here and there adds up and chat about the day and have a conversation. That keeps you close. That keeps you in tune to what's going on with one another. And all of these things that we do to spend a little time together create that loving, romantic intimacy that we all want. You got to spend time together. All right, number six, someone to talk with and share your deepest thoughts and questions and ideas. Someone to share your deepest thoughts, ideas, questions, thoughts. What would life be without a spouse to chat with? I happen to be talkative, and my husband happens to be a great listener. Yeah, so that works out good for us. Now, if two people are talking, you got to take turns. Don't be talking or thinking about what you're going to say before the other person's finished. And if you're a quiet person and you're both quiet, then, talking and sharing a few thoughts, it might not happen quite as often because you're both quiet. But it's important to have somebody to communicate with, to talk with. And number seven is one of my favorites to celebrate in marriage, and that's adventure, having someone to do things with. I know next summer, my husband and I, actually every Monday night, we are a part of a Southern Crescent Chorale. It's a group of around 65, 70 adult singers, and we practice every week. We have about 4 or 5 concerts during the year. And next year, we are going to take a trip to Europe with the chorale. Wow, what an opportunity, a new adventure. Now, our adventures don't have to be that big. We have a camper, and so we like to go camping. I like to just take a walk in the woods, eat at a new restaurant, try something new and different. He's not as adventurous as I am, but guess what? He does it because he loves me, and so he does all these things too. Although he's pretty excited about that European trip next year. Well, number eight, shared responsibilities. Now, this is a big one because sometimes we get overwhelmed with too many responsibilities. And, that's a great thing about marriage. It's a tag team. Hey, I've got to go do this evening. So can you watch the kids? Can you be home for the kids? Of course, you go watch the kids because they're your kids, right? His and hers. But can you be home at a certain time to watch the kids? And that's what we did. So whenever our children were growing up, I taught ballet in the evening, and he worked all day in insurance. And then he was a minister of music at church part time. And in the early days in insurance, he had to work in the evening because that was back in the day before cell phones. And so, to catch people, you had to be able to call them in the evening. So he put a lot of work hours in. But shared responsibilities. When I needed help or I was headed to teach dance class, we tag teamed. He came home and I left, and so we were back and forth on that. Shared responsibilities. Companies coming and you need to do a little extra cleaning in your house. Tag team. He helps straighten up, like he doesn't clean all the time, but he jumps in and helps whenever I need him to. Shared responsibilities. And number nine is parenting together. Yeah. When you have boys, sometimes dad needs to step in a little bit, right? When you have teenagers, sometimes dad needs to step in a little bit. And parenting, the good thing in marriage is, since you're talking about your values, your morals, what's important, how you want to parent, you're able to do that together and you have each other's back. One thing I used to always tell my kids, especially, I was like, when I tell you no, you do not go and ask your dad. Now that can cause some conflict, yes. So, parenting together. Number 10 is celebrating the successes, enjoying one another, and celebrating the successes of life together. All right, so that is 10 reasons to celebrate your marriage. How about today you stop and you write down 10 more ways you appreciate your spouse in marriage, and maybe they write 10 ways they appreciate you in marriage. It's a day of counting your blessings, giving thanks to God for all the goodness in life and looking for more opportunities and more great things to come along. All right, I'm Connie Durham with the Extraordinary Marriage Podcast. And remember, you can get my free gifts. It is theextraordinarymarriage.com/, the word free dash gift. Free dash gift. Theextraordinarymarriage.com/free dash gift. And you'll also find it in the notes. All right. Thank you. And I hope you have an awesome, wonderful Thanksgiving day. And if you're listening to this later, remember, it's important to count your blessings each and every day.